What's going on, everybody? Just want to let you know our sponsors going forward for our future episodes. We are sponsored by Red Clover Coffee. So if you go to redclovercoffee.com and type in code IWP at checkout, you'll save 10% site-wide. Also, we are sponsored by Performance Supplements. So if you go over to performancesup with 2ps.com and type in code IWP at checkout, you'll save 15% site-wide. And our third sponsor is we are sponsored by Crunch Fitness up here in Northern California. Thank you, guys. What's going on, everybody? Been wanting to do this episode by itself for a long time as to why I created a podcast. So I'm current active duty military. I am getting medically retired out of the military September 2nd of this year. So I wanted to do something, keep busy, occupy myself while, taking care of our two kids while my wife is out of the country on a deployment. So yes, we're both military. I'm Air Force and she is Army. And as you can see, the three branches here, that is for my brother-in-law, Kevin, who was on episode 2. Gonna have him back on. I think he did 4-year contract and was in Ramadi and Fallujah, but that's why those flags are there. So anyways, back to why I created a podcast. So I needed something to do. I am always go, go, go. I want to stay busy. That's how I've always been. I'm 34 years old. I was an entrepreneur for 12, 13 years. I had 3 companies that I owned in total. I had a supplement company, and then I was part owner of a supplement store in Texas. So this is all in Texas. And then my wife and I currently own a veteran military clothing company that we are pretty dormant with right now because of when COVID happened and then joining the military, and kind of taking it from there. So we still have product and everything. I don't have a website. So pretty much it's like word of mouth and friends contact me if they want something. Excuse me. So yeah, it's just, knowing that I was going to get out and, not having to work really because of the percentage that I'm going to be getting, and then also with my wife being deployed and both of us having dual income, there really wasn't a point for me to work and then to try to pay so much for daycare. Might as well just be stay home and take care of my kids the best way to teach them and have them learn. And then of course maybe part-time go to like a daycare or something like that to give me a little bit of time to where I could get some things done around the house, because for all the parents out there that are stay-at-home parents, whether you have 1 kid or 4 kids or 10 kids, it's a lot of work, and it's not for everybody. So I love it. I mean, I can't complain. I don't regret anything. But the reason being, I was going to save this for another episode, but I might as well just put it in here. So why I'm getting medically retired is I had a career-ending surgery on my right arm, my bicep, my shoulder. And so what happened was, for those of you that know in the Air Force, there's the Raven program. If you go SF, which is Security Forces, not going to sit here and try to be one of those people like, oh yeah, I'm SF. Because some people get misconstrued and they think you're Special Forces, and that's not it. Security Forces, pretty much a cop. And so I wanted to branch off. I wasn't just going to sit here and just be the cop. So you can go do Raven, which, in a nutshell, to sum it up, you can ask any Raven out there whether how serious they take it or not. Pretty much you watch planes. It's what you do. You go on flyaway missions. You can go on a ton of stuff, and you can do some really cool fast missions, and you pretty much just guard planes at the end of the day. Make extra money. It's cool. You get a Ranger tab. That's the only, or not a Ranger tab, I apologize. You get a Raven tab, and you have your own number for life. It's pretty cool to have that. And I think Travis is the only base that has the pre-Raven course. So you do 3 weeks of the pre-Raven course, and then if you pass, then they send you to the schoolhouse, which is about, I think that's 3 weeks as well. And the pre-Raven course, from a consensus of everybody and then being in and talking to all sorts of Ravens myself, They say it's roughly 10 times harder than what it is at the schoolhouse. So, and unfortunately, it was my first day, and it was about noon, 1 o'clock after we started, about 7. We're doing a bunch of exercises. I mean, you're doing hundreds of reps and into the thousands, pretty much. It gets up to by the end of the day with everything you're doing and constantly running. It's awesome. I love the training. That's why I love the military, is they can definitely keep you active in that sense. So I was doing the training, and we're doing this certain exercise called pyramids. I'm not going to get into it. I mean, you can look it up or ask about it. I'm just trying to do this, this quick video. And I was doing push-ups, and I just heard a pop, just like kind of like went numb, like lost strength. I kind of like plopped down on the mat, and essentially I had to chose to get medically withdrawn. It took them 5 months to give me surgery, and ended up finding out I needed to get a bicep tenodesis surgery. If you don't know what that is, look it up. I'll explain a little bit about it. And then I also had on my short head bicep, I had a tear. So I tore my short head bicep, and then the long head of your bicep that goes through your humerus, pretty much into your shoulder, up your trap right here. They had to cut and reattach it back down here. So the surgery went well. It's just what happened before the surgery, unfortunately, caused irreversible damage, and I was deemed pretty much like a dead body. So my PCM, my surgeon, and they went to med board for me, and it instantly got approved to medically retire because of it. So the anesthesiologist, when she was administering the nerve block right here, can actually still feel it to this day. It's been almost a year. It'll be a year, September 1st. She was administering the nerve block, and when she did, unfortunately, I felt like she was being kind of careless. I was already nervous because I've never had a needle in my neck, and she hits my C6 cervical nerve in my neck. My whole arm during this process is getting the nerve block. And so it's already starting to go numb. My arm flies up on the table, or flies up off the table or the bed, and her assistant catches my arm. And even though my arm was numb, I still felt pain and a ton of discomfort. And it was the wildest vibration, like noise that I felt and heard. Well, I felt like a little bit of vibration, but it was mainly the noise. It was kind of like it was very different. I've never experienced it before. And it goes up my neck, into my jaw, and then went into my ear, and then around my skull. So I got pretty messed up from this surgery. And, I went through it took 5 months to get the surgery, got the surgery. It's been almost a year from the surgery. So almost a year and a half in total since that injury happened. And I have permanent nerve damage for life. I have nerve damage from my C6 all the way down to my L4, and it's bilateral into both my arms. It goes into my legs and my feet sometimes, and this arm right here, my right arm, is the one that's messed up. It goes numb, it tingles, tons of throbbing pain all the time, and your nerves typically repair 1 to 2, I think it's millimeters a day. They repair very, very slowly. But my doctor was saying that it could take years or longer for it to really kind of get better. So what happened is they fixed my torn bicep on my short head. My long head bicep had to get cut, reattached. And then I had bursitis in my shoulder, cleaned that out. It ended up getting encapsulation of my shoulder after the surgery from all the scar tissue and inflammation. So now I have frozen shoulder. And if you don't know what frozen shoulder is, it is the opposite of cold. It burns. I can't take my arm and go directly above my head. I can't directly go out to the side. I can't internally, externally rotate. Can't put the arm behind my back, do like a parade rest or anything like that. So it sucks. Frozen shoulder can last anywhere from 9 months to 3 years is what it says if you look at it online. Don't quote me exactly to the day, the month, but that's typically how long it lasts for. Now, it is very, very difficult to work out, move things, pick things up, try to hold my kids. He's, one is 3.5, and the other one is about to be 2. So it definitely sucks, and it messed with me for a while. I ended up getting diagnosed with PTSD, anxiety, and adjustment disorder. It hit me really hard. I'm not going to sit here and try to lie and be like, oh, I'm so tough and, this, that, I can do this, blah, 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 blah. It messed with me like instantly. Like my whole, a 1 hour surgery, 180 my whole entire life. And I didn't think that I was going to ever retire at 34 years old. I joined super late because of COVID, and it pretty much like tanked 2 of my businesses. So I got away from those, and I was a stay-at-home dad for 10 months, 11 months before I, was talking to the wife, and I'm like, hey, like I've always wanted to join, are you okay? Because when we first met, 2018, she was so happy that I wasn't military, doesn't want to ever date a military person ever again. And then 2020 happens, and hey, babe, what do you think? And, she is very, very supportive. So she just, I believe what she told me is that, whatever you have to do to provide for your family and be the father husband that you need to be, like do whatever you need to do. Like, I'll support you. And then boom, here we are. And very quick on that, went to boot camp, tech school, went to gunner's course, and then got orders to go to Kirtland, Albuquerque, New Mexico, which I can talk about that on another podcast. Absolutely hated that place. She loved it. I wouldn't say love it. Let me take that back. She enjoyed it. It's a very like beautiful state, depending what areas you go to. Obviously, Albuquerque is trash, but then the Air Force, they have this thing called the EFMP, which is Exceptional Family Member Program. And so because our second kid, our youngest one, was born with Down syndrome, and we were at high elevation, he was on oxygen supply, and so that is considered like absolute like risk at the very top, expedite. And so we were able to get our orders, and we got stationed in California near family and friends, where we wanted to be on your dream sheet, if you guys know anything about that. So, and then here we are out in California. And yeah, so fast forward back to where I'm at now. Surgery completely jacked me up. I lost like 20 pounds. I didn't work out. I couldn't work out for 7 months maybe. It was a very, very long time. Like I looked sick. I lost 20 pounds. I'm back up 20 pounds now. I'm able to obviously eat more, be a little bit more active. But, for an example, just yesterday, I tried to go in the gym to do chest and to like warm up my shoulders. I was in there for 13 minutes before I had to leave because the pain is so excruciating, and my arm and my hand goes numb. I can't feel anything, but I know my arm, and I can feel, and I can see my arm moving. I can feel it in that sense, but it was it was very difficult, and it's very painful. I have to sleep on my back. If I try to sleep like on my side, like especially on my left side, right, my good arm, then like depending on like where my right arm lays, like if it hangs over or backwards, it's painful. I obviously can't lay on my right side still. So it sucked. And it's it's kind of funny because I couldn't wash myself, so I had to stand in the shower and have my wife literally like bird bath me. It was like a very like humbling experience. I've never had that ever needed to be done before. So yeah. And then knowing that I was gonna get out, I mean I love Joe Rogan. It's honestly probably why I even thought about it. Joe Rogan is, I mean, he is like the OG for the podcast and everything. I enjoy listening to Joe Rogan. I love listening to the Sean Ryan show. I like the shows, and I was like, oh, podcast would be awesome. Get me a mic, camera. I love talking to people. I don't mind being in front of a camera and talking and going over things. But the one thing about it too is that to have a platform for not just myself, but for anybody that wants to come on and tell their story, or, you know, like I get messages on the Instagram account. People message me and email me at kbpodcast123@gmail.com. Excuse me. I've had people message me saying that they would love to come on to the podcast because they would feel comfortable telling their story of whatever they have, X, Y, and Z. To whereas they keep this inside themselves and they bottle it up and they don't know how to explain it, or maybe they talk to people, but depending on the situation, they feel like they want to make it public, because maybe it could help somebody. You know, like if I have one person listen to the podcast and, you know, I'm able to brighten somebody's day, or give out some information to somebody that they didn't know, or, you know, maybe I'm that person that someone wants to listen to when they're driving to work or to the grocery store or on a road trip or something like that, you know, that they feel is entertaining. It's awesome. And a podcast for fun on the side, for something to look forward to and record and have certain guests on the show and topics to talk about. I don't just talk about like politics and military. You know, I go over sports. You know, I have people come on here that are Purple Heart veterans, war veterans. They tell their stories. I've had people on the show that talk about real estate, you know, fitness. I talk about like anything and everything that, you know, is going to be an interesting episode for some people that don't necessarily get that, or even decide to look for something like that, you know, something to kind of entertain them. So it's just fun. Like I said, you know, multiple times, it's fun. I look forward to it. And just to kind of see where it goes. You know, I have Instagram, I have Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I enjoy it. And I am going to be slowly upgrading to where I'm going to have a different camera setup. In my opinion, a better camera, 4K setup. And then also, I have this mic here that I usually sit back here on the desk when I have guests over, and I usually set it in the center, and you can talk on either side and it picks it up. But I want to get it to where I have my own panel for it. You plug in the XLR cables into it, and everybody has their own mic, like a legit setup, which would be really cool. And yeah, so that's why I created a podcast. I want to have a platform for people to listen to, come on to, and, you know, in everything that I do, that I talk about, the number one thing that you're going to see in the beginning, even in the bio, is truthful. Now, there's a lot of people that are going to be left side, you know, right side, center, whatever. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion. I completely understand. So some people may not agree with what I have to say, and some people love what I have to say. And at the end of the day, cool. If you love it, great. If you got something out of it, awesome. If you don't like it, then it's not for you. I do not lose sleep over it. I do not care. Everybody is a professional online, and they're a guru, no matter if they tell you, hey, that's not true. And, you know, everything that I post is backed by articles, backed by facts, whether people want to hear it or not. And, you know, at the end of the day, people are still going to put out their opinions, and they think they're some kind of professional. It's whatever. The podcast is my podcast, no one else's. If you don't want to listen to it, don't listen to it. But I started it, like I said, because getting out of the military, looking for something to do. And, you know, my wife and I are going to be traveling here pretty soon. And so it's cool things to like document and like record like travel and vlogs, and outside of like living in the moment. And so I'm not going to personally put my kids on here at all. That's my personal account. And really not even like family. That'll be on my personal account as well. This is like strictly like podcast. You know, I have different views about that. This is strictly podcast business, and then I keep family off to the side between us. So, yeah, I mean, if you guys have any questions, comments, you know, put them down below. You can email me at kbpodcast123@gmail.com. And just wanted to kind of make a quick video to let you know, like, why I created a podcast, and just a little bit of, you know, where I was at and how I got here. If you want me to go deeper into an episode to talk about, you know, me branching off and being an entrepreneur for over a decade and joining the military super late, in my opinion, which is 31 years old. I have met a person that did join the Air Force at 39, because that is a cutoff. So he definitely got me beat. But yeah, joining at 31, and I can talk about my experiences through boot camp. I can talk about my experiences through tech school. I can try and maybe get a couple of my buddies that are still in, because I've only been in for 3 years, and then this happened. So I can see about getting them on. And if they can't make it, then, you know, I can go over everything and tell you what I went through, especially going through COVID. So yeah, I appreciate you guys stopping by and listening. And then I'll have a couple more episodes coming out. This one, I just really wanted to kind of touch back and get back into the introduction of me and why. And then the episodes going forward, what I'm going to try to do is once a week, sit down and do these like 20, 30, 40-minute videos of podcast videos of like multiple topics throughout the week. Because I was doing like 1 to 2.5 hour podcasts, but you know, I just, you know, quickly realized that people's attention spans, you know, aren't very long anymore. People want like quick stuff, you know, everyone's used to Instagram and YouTube shorts and TikToks and all that stuff, you know, so I figure like a nice like 30-minute podcast would be a little bit more pleasurable and doable for most people instead of like 2 or 3 hours, because then you'll listen to it and then you'll pause it because you know, most of the time people are listening to it on their way to work or something like that, and then you fall off, you forget to come back and finish it or something like that. So yeah, like nice quick little videos. So again, thank you for stopping by. The podcast is Intel Within Podcasts across social media. You can look for the logo that you'll see. And yeah, off to the next episode after this, and I appreciate you guys.